In the battle for the diesel king of the hill, we squared up 4 of the finest diesel sedans to help you make up your mind as to which one it is for you. After taking a good in-depth look at the cars standing, time to get them started up, on the road and reviewed. So how are we going to do this? Firstly, we bring up the 2 cars that have been around for a while and had a little time to prove themselves. Maruti Suzuki's SX4 and the Volkswagen Vento. Let's put them together and see which one triumphs the other when it comes to the engine and the way the cars handle. The Volkswagen Vento's 1.6-liter TDI engine seems pretty noisy, especially when started cold. But in terms of figures, the 1.6 oil burner that also powers the Polo race cup car puts out 105 PS and 250 Nm of torque. Sub that with its 1,220 kg weight, and what you'll get is some brisk acceleration, with the 0 to 100 coming up in 11.1 seconds. It's very drivable, and when compared to the SX4, it's also very fast. The Maruti SX4's engine displaces the smallest capacity in its class. At 1,248cc, it also happens to be the most refined and user-friendly. The variable geometry turbo coupled to the engine helps it stand up to the Vento and the other diesels. Even though the engine puts out only 90 PS, the 200 Nm of torque and a strong turbo kick is what really gives the SX4 a fighting chance.
So talking of the engine performance on this car, very well torqued. You get the power at about 2,400 RPM through all the gears and at the right time for all the overtaking on the highway. It's a great car to drive. There's no doubt about this, that the 1300cc engine backs out adequate power for you to propel you through all the contingencies.
The edge that the Vento holds over the SX4 when it comes to the engine and performance also extends to its handling prowess, proving to be a better car to be behind the wheel in when it comes to negotiating bends and curves. Quite clearly, offering a better ride than the SX4 does. But is it class-beating?
The Volkswagen Vento, of course, is no slouch to drive by any means. In fact, in its diesel form, it has always been one of our most favorite cars to drive around. I also found the clutch to be a little on the stiffer side for my taste, but that's again a matter of personal preference. Still a lot of fun to drive, can corner faster than the Fiesta. The engine has a lot of spokes, so that adds to the fun factor. But I think in terms of the overall drive experience, the Fiesta fits the Vento by a small margin.
With all of us having a go in the Vento and the SX4, a lot of opinions were floating around. Nothing like a serious huddle to settle which amongst the older two is the better one.
So let's just take a look at these 2 cars which have been around for a while, the Maruti Suzuki SX4 and the Volkswagen Vento. The basic differences in terms of appeal are quite vast, Bishop.
Absolutely. For me, what really works with the Vento, of course, is the fact that it's got the Teutonic German build. It's also very understated, which I really like. And it's backed up by a fact that it's a great driver's car.
But differences in appeal, but also a big difference in terms of the pricing. The SX4 being significantly cheaper than the Vento. The other qualities of the SX4, Kaka, you've been driving it around quite a lot.
In a nutshell, I think SX4 becomes a complete family sedan, diesel driven, with lots of space inside, the known Maruti reliability, and handles fairly well. I mean, he can give a run for the money for the competition when it comes down to really throwing the car around. Looks very old-fashioned, but does the job very well.
What about the Vento, Muntu sir? You've been driving it around quite a lot of late.
Just like Bishop said, I think it's the driver's car among the two. It's great on performance, it's good on fuel efficiency too. And that 1.6-liter diesel unit is very responsive. It's just an absolute fun machine to drive. The only lack that I see in the Vento is the dearth of gadgets inside. That's something that Volkswagen needed to have addressed.
Let's go and check out the 2 hot new diesel sedans on the market, the Ford Fiesta and the Hyundai Verna.
The new contenders, the Ford Fiesta and the Hyundai Verna, have a lot to offer when it comes to a lot of fun. Not only are they better displaced, but also embody the freshness of being new-looking cars while aiming for their own type of market space. However, when it comes to the power and control stakes, which of the newer lot can stand up to the Vento? Let's find out. The Hyundai Verna seems aimed as a refined family car, but also no slouch when it comes to the power stakes.
This is the latest addition to the diesel sedans, costing around 10 lakhs rupees. The new Hyundai Verna, 1600cc diesel engine coupled to a 6-speed manual gearbox. Very quick car. On our test, she wetted out 11 seconds going from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is very, very quick. The power in this engine comes on at around 1700-1800 RPM and very, very flexible. You can really push the car through all the gears. If you belong to that category of drivers who love sporty driving, I'm sure you'll enjoy this car.
The Ford Fiesta's appeal is more angled towards the youth. The 1498cc engine feels good with a linear response that's thanks to some smart turbo tuning. It does feel like it needs a tad bit more power when compared to its company, but more than makes up for its 90 PS and 204 Nm of torque by being a delightful handler.
The Ford Fiesta clearly is the most fun to drive car amongst all four. Feedback from the steering, the brakes, the suspension and the wheels, everything is spot on. They've changed the power steering to an electric power steering as opposed to the hydraulic one that came on the earlier Fiesta. But that hasn't taken anything away from how well it responds and how it tells you exactly where the car wants to go. What really seals the case in the Fiesta's favor though is the perfect balance between ride quality and handling that it manages to achieve. Roll control is very well managed, but at the same time it will also soak up most bumps that the roads can throw at you. All said and done, just wish the engine had a little more force so you could enter corners a little bit faster.
It's definitely not easy for us to pick out one clear favorite. Both the Fiesta and the Verna have their strong points, and so after all of us had driven them, we decided to get together and pick up personal favorites. So don't go anywhere, because all that's coming up right after this short break.